Everyone, I apologize for the late start, but I do call the meeting to order. Welcome to meeting number 97 of the House of Commons Standing Committee on Access to Information, Privacy and Ethics, conformément à l'article 108.3h du règlement et la motion adoptée.
Pursuant to Standing Order 1083H and the motion adopted by the committee on Tuesday, January 31st, 2023, the committee is resuming its study of the use of social media platforms for data harvesting and unethical or illicit sharing of personal information with foreign entities. Today's meeting is taking place in a hybrid format pursuant to the standing orders. Members can attend in person in the room or remotely using the Zoom application.
Members not to put the earpieces near the microphones for obvious reasons, because it does cause feedback and potential injury. I'd now like to welcome our guests and our witnesses today. All have the proper equipment, connection, and yes, we've all done the technical tests, and it seems to be working properly. We've got a full slate today, and I want to welcome you all from Google Canada. We've got Jeanette Patel, Head of Canada Government Affairs and Public Policy, Google and YouTube. Shane Huntley, the Senior Director, Threat Analysis Group, Google. From Meta Platforms, Rachel Curran, the Head of Public Policy Canada, Nathaniel Gleicher, Head of Security Policy, and Dr. Lindsay Hundley, Influence Operations and Policy Lead. And from X Corporation, I want to welcome Wilfredo Fernandez, Head of Government Affairs, United States of America and Canada, as well as Josh Harris, who's the Senior Privacy and Data Protection Counsel. We have a full slate today. We are going to start with Google. You have up to 5 minutes for your opening statement to committee. Go ahead, please.
Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs les...
Mr. Chair, ladies and gentlemen, members of committee, hello. My name is Jeanette Patel, and I am responsible for government affairs and public policies for Google and YouTube in Canada.
I am joined by my colleague, Shane Huntley, who leads a group dedicated to protecting Google and our users from advanced threats, including those posed by state-sponsored attacks. Nous apprécions les efforts du comité pour sensibiliser à la collecte et au partage.
We appreciate the committee's efforts to raise awareness on the illicit sharing of personal data and examining the risks of that in Canada.
In the products and services Canadians use each day more helpful. When Canadians use our services, they are trusting us with their information. This is a responsibility that we take very seriously at Google, and we protect user privacy with industry-leading security infrastructure, responsible data practices, and easy-to-use privacy tools that put our users in control. Tools like our Privacy Checkup and our Security Checkup give people personalized privacy and security reminders and recommendations, including flagging actions they should take to immediately secure their Google account. Les deux bilans de santé permettent aux utilisateurs de personnaliser étape par étape leur contrôle de sécurité et de confidentialité en fonction.
They need to be able
protection program, which is available to anyone, but is specifically designed for individuals and organizations such as elected officials, political campaigns, human rights activists, and journalists who are at a higher risk of targeted online attacks. Treating our user data responsibly and protecting user privacy includes protecting data from third parties. That's why it's our strict policy to never sell our users' personal information to anyone. And when it comes to government requests for user information, our team carefully reviews each request to make sure it satisfies applicable laws. If a request asks for too much information, we try to narrow it, and in some cases we object to producing any information at all. We have also taken the lead in being transparent about government requests for user information through our transparency reports. In addition to these industry-leading tools and strict protocols, we invest significantly in global teams and operations to prevent abuse on our platforms. One of those teams is our Threat Analysis Group. I'll now pass it to my colleague Shane to speak to the work his group does to secure our users' information against bad actors.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. As Jeanette mentioned, I'm the Director of Google's Threat Analysis Group, or TAG. While I'm personally based in Australia, we are a global team, and a significant part of which is based in Google's Montreal office, which I'm sure this committee well knows is a growing hub of cybersecurity talent and expertise. Our global team of analysts and security experts work closely with product teams to analyze and counter threats to our platform and our users, including threats from government-backed attackers, serious cyber criminals, and information operations. Hostile actors continue to attempt to access and misuse our platforms, and Google has invested heavily over many years to counter attempts to deceive, harm, or take advantage of users. And we don't just mitigate security risks, we work to eliminate entire classes of threats for consumers and businesses whose work and lives depend on the internet. On any given day, TAG is tracking more than 270 targeted or government-backed attacker groups from more than 50 countries. We publish a quarterly bulletin about actions we take against accounts that we attribute to coordinated influence campaigns. For instance, in the third quarter of 2023, we reported disabling influence campaigns originating from groups including Russia, Iran, China, and Mexico. We are particularly focused on disrupting coordinated influence operations on YouTube. For example, since January 2023, we terminated more than 2,400 YouTube channels linked to Russia and more than 60,000 channels linked to China as part of our investigations into this activity. These actions are in addition to YouTube's ongoing enforcement of community guidelines, which resulted in the removal of more than 8 million videos globally in the third quarter of 2023. As we discover and disrupt operations, we take steps to protect users, disclose information publicly, and share our findings with industry and government partners to support the entire ecosystem. We also issue warnings to our users when we believe that they have been targeted by a government-backed attack. While this work is never done, we continue to take action, identify bad actors, and share relevant information to protect users and prevent future attacks. We would like to thank the committee for your attention to this critical issue and allowing us to share more on our work to keep Canadians safe and our investments and in the right expertise to protect users on our platform. We remain committed to partnering with the Canadian government to ensure a stronger and safer digital future for all Canadians. We look forward to answering your questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Huntley and Ms. Patel. We're going to go to Meta now. You have 5 minutes to address the committee. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. My name is Nathaniel Gleicher, and I am the head of security policy at Meta. My work is focused on addressing the adversarial threats that we face every day to the security and integrity of our products and services, and taking steps to protect our users in every way that we can. I have worked in cybersecurity and trust and safety for 2 decades, first as a technical expert, and then as a cybercrime prosecutor at the U.S. Department of Justice, and as Director for Cybersecurity Policy at the National Security Council. I'm joined by video conference today by 2 colleagues at Meta, Rachel Curran, the Head of Public Policy for Canada, and Dr. Lindsay Hundley, our Lead for Influence Operations Policy. At Meta, we work hard to identify and counter foreign adversarial threats, including hacking campaigns, cyber espionage operations, as well as influence operations, what we call coordinated inauthentic behavior, or CIB, which we define as any coordinated effort to manipulate public debate for a strategic goal in which fake accounts are central to the operation. CIB is when users coordinate with one another and use fake accounts to mislead others about who they are and what they are doing. At Meta, our community standards prohibit inauthentic behavior, including by users who seek to misrepresent themselves, use fake accounts, or artificially boost the popularity of content. This policy is intended to protect the security of user accounts and our services and create a space where people can trust the people and communities they interact with on our platforms. We also know that threat actors are working to interfere with and manipulate public debate, exploit societal divisions, promote fraud, influence elections, and target authentic social engagement across the internet. Stopping these bad actors, both on our platforms and more broadly, is one of our highest priorities. That's why we've invested significantly in people and technology to combat inauthentic behavior. The security teams at Meta have developed policies, automated detection tools, and enforcement frameworks to tackle deceptive actors, both foreign and domestic. These investments in technology have enabled us to stop millions of attempts to create fake accounts every day and to detect and remove millions more, often within minutes of their creation. Just this year, Meta has disabled almost 2 billion fake accounts. The vast majority of those, more than 99% of them, were identified proactively before receiving any report. As part of this work, we regularly publish reports on our work to counter the threats we're discussing here today. To talk more about that, I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Hundley, who coordinates our work to identify and expose foreign interference.
My name is Lindsay Hundley, and I lead Meta's policy work on countering influence operations, both overt and covert. My work at the company draws on my nearly 10 years of experience as a researcher focused on issues related to foreign interference, including in my doctoral work at Stanford University and during research fellowships at both Stanford and Harvard. Meta uses a behavior-based approach to identify covert influence operations, not one that's based on the content that they share. We remove networks like these no matter who is behind them, what they post, or whether they are foreign or domestic. If helpful, I'd be happy to give specific examples. We have taken down more than 200 covert influence operations from 68 countries in at least 42 languages, from Amharic to Urdu to Russian and Chinese. We regularly report these findings through our adversarial threat reports. Sharing this information has enabled our teams, investigative journalists, government officials, and industry peers to better understand and expose internet-wide security risk, including ahead of critical elections. As of our latest report, China is now the third most common geographic source of foreign CIB that we have disrupted, after Russia and Iran. This year, we have taken down 5 CIB networks from China, more than any other country. Regardless of who was behind these networks or what they targeted, these CIB operations emanating from China typically posted content related to China's interests in different regions worldwide. Many praised China. Some defended its human rights records in Tibet and Xinjiang. Others criticized critics of the Chinese government, including journalists and researchers. Countering foreign influence operations is a whole of society effort. No single platform can solve foreign interference on its own, which is why we work with our industry peers, independent researchers, investigative journalists, government, and law enforcement. Thank you for your focus on this work, and we look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you, Dr. Hundley. That was precisely on time between the two of you. Thank you for that. And now we're going to go to X Corporation. Please go ahead for 5 minutes. Address the committee.
To the chair and members of the committee, thank you for the invitation to appear before you today. My name is Wilfredo Fernandez, and I serve as head of government affairs for the U.S. and Canada at X. And I'm joined by my colleague, Josh Harris, our lead privacy counsel for North America. X's mission is to promote and protect the public conversation, to be the town square of the internet. People's right to privacy and data protection is a fundamental right, not a privilege. X is a uniquely open service. We offer a range of ways for people to be a part of the conversation on X on their terms, from creating pseudonymous accounts to protect their identity to letting people control who sees their posts. Our privacy efforts have enabled people around the world using X to protect their own data. That same philosophy guides how we work to protect the data people share with X. We empower people who use our service to make informed decisions about the data they share with us. We believe individuals should know and have meaningful control over what data is being collected about them, how it's used, and when it's shared. We're guided by the principle that we should only use the data for the purpose for which it was collected. We have one global privacy program that encompasses the highest data protection standards of the world and a single global privacy policy, which we have worked hard to make clear and easy to understand. X is always working to improve transparency into what data is collected and how it is used. Through the account settings on X, we give people the ability to make a variety of choices about their data privacy, including limiting the data we collect, determining whether they see interest-based advertising, and controlling how we personalize their experience. In addition, we provide people the ability to access information about advertisers that have included them in tailored audiences to serve them ads, demographic and interest data about their account from ad partners, and information X has inferred about them. Behind the scenes, teams across the company are constantly working to protect the privacy and data of those who use our service. This work has several areas of focus. Over the last year, we have been overhauling technical infrastructure and products to make X more efficient and durable. Tackling technical debt isn't just good for the privacy and safety of people who use X, it will help us get us better products and services to people faster. Privacy by design is a priority with every product we build. We execute comprehensive privacy reviews for all new features and tools we roll out, and perform additional data protection impact assessments for products that may pose additional risk to our users. In addition, we have taken steps to mitigate unauthorized scraping and harvesting of X data. No single mitigation can protect against all the privacy harms associated with such activity. Some actions we've taken include the use of dedicated teams that work together to monitor, identify, and mitigate scraping activity across a range of vectors in the platform, the introduction of rate limits to limit a malicious actor's ability to scrape data, expanded user verification offerings to assess that a given account applicant is a real person and not a bot, and updates to our terms of service to make it clear that scraping is an express misuse of the X service. X is public and posts are immediately viewable and searchable by anyone around the world. We give people non-public ways to communicate on X2 through protected accounts and direct messages. It is also possible to use X under a pseudonym if you prefer not to use your real name. When people use X, even if they're just looking at posts, we receive some personal information, like the type of device they're using and their IP address. People can choose what additional information to share with us, including email address, phone number, address book contacts, and a public profile. We use the information for things like keeping accounts secure and showing people more relevant posts, people to follow, events, and ads. Like many peer companies, X's business is largely based on advertising. We have some fundamental differences. In general, rather than focusing on who you are, our data is more about what you're interested in. For example, what you repost, what you like, whom you follow, all of which is public. X has an open public API making data available for developers, journalists, brands, and researchers for analysis, to build businesses, provide services, and to create innovative products. We do not provide personally identifiable information through our API that is not already visible on the service. We take our responsibility to protect people's data seriously and have strict policies and processes in place to assess applications for uses of X data and restrict improper use of such. Notwithstanding the fact that our API only makes available public data, we have long-standing rules against use of our data for surveillance. As a company, we will always err on the side of protecting the voices of those who use our service. Privacy and data protection is the heart of our company-wide priority to build products that earn the trust of people who use them. Freedom of speech and expression is built on this foundation, and we take this responsibility very seriously. Thank you, and we look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Fernandez. Thank you all for your opening statements. Members of the committee, we've got a bit of a Brady Bunch scenario going on here. Mr. Green, I'll call you Mike Brady, the patriarch of the family. I'm going to ask that the members direct their questions specifically to an individual, because we're just going to waste time if we're trying to figure out who's going to answer the question. So if you can do that, that would be appreciated. We're going to start with our first 6-minute round with Mr. Barrett from the Conservative Party. Mr. Barrett, go ahead, please.
So my first question, I'll direct it to X Corp. Would you support an age restriction, so requiring parental approval for downloads of your app by children under the age of 16?
Thank you for the question. There are around the world a variety of different laws when it comes to consent and age restrictions. Sometimes they vary by state here in the United States. So we welcome, the opportunity to engage on any potential legislation.
So I'm just going to jump in there quickly, sir. This is a great opportunity for you to engage on if X Corp would support a restriction in the App Store for minors under the age of 16 when they're downloading your app to require parental consent. Would you support that?
So as you may imagine, X is not the platform of choice for teens. We do allow in the United States and Canada, with the exception of Quebec, which is over 14, the ability to use the service. So we leave the decision of whether to restrict on the App Store to the App Store.
Okay. Same question to Meta, please.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. Yes, we would support that kind of restriction. And if I may say, I think that would be an excellent way for policymakers to protect and address youth safety issues, as long as it's applied industry-wide.
The same question, thank you for your response. The same question to Google, please.
So when you can put parental controls on an Android device. So that's one of the things that we've built in order to put families and caregivers in control of their experience. And that can restrict what content can be downloaded or purchased from Google Play on that particular device based on the maturity level and concerns and putting this, putting families in control of the
Sorry,
decisions
Ms.
that are
Patel.
right for them.
The interpreters are having a problem because you are cutting in and out. Mr. Barrett, I'm going to stop your time here. I don't know. The test was fine? Okay. So I'm going to go back to Mr. Barrett here, but we may have a problem, Ms. Patel. We'll see what the next answer brings. Go ahead.
Okay, Ms. Patel, I heard your response as that on Android Google devices that parents have the opportunity to set content moderation by age. Can you indicate if that's a correct summary of what you said?
Essentially, yes. So we have built tools so that parents can put controls on the devices and downloads for their.
Okay, thanks very much. My next question is to X Corp. I'm looking for. Do you have a list of instances which the government of Canada has requested that content be taken down on your platform by the government of Canada to X Corp?
I'll allow my colleague Josh to add. We do keep track of lawful requests for user information from governments. We don't have that information in front of us today, but yes, law enforcement do have a particular portal where they can make lawful requests for user data or potential content removal.
Okay,
according to lawful order.
So before your colleague jumps in there, and if you can give a response in under 30 seconds, I'm looking for requests by government, not by police agencies. X, please.
Yes, we do track by government agency, and we would be able to provide you aggregate numbers of government requests from Canada for a set period, if 1 year, for example.
So if you're able to give us the last 5 years, if you're able to table that with the committee, can you also itemize it by the nature of the request? If you're providing a written submission to the committee, is that something you'd be able to do, sir?
Yes, I'll have to explore that with my colleagues to make sure that we'll be able to get that granular enough to be able to be useful to the committee.
Is there a Canadian version of the Twitter files?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. The same question to Meta with respect to takedown requests by the government. Is that something that you keep track of? And if so, are you able to itemize the frequency and the nature of each occurrence? Is that something you'd be able to provide to the committee in writing, Ms. Curran?
Yeah, we can. So we respond to valid government requests in accordance with applicable law and our terms of service. Those requests are publicly disclosed in our Transparency Center, and we'd be happy to provide more detail on those to the committee.
Okay. Just very quickly, I only have 30 seconds left, so I have 15 seconds. Ms. Patel, is that something that Google would be able to do?
Yes, absolutely. We publish every 6 months a transparency report with government removal requests, and we'd be happy to provide that information to the committee.
Well, thank you very much. I have about 10 seconds left, and Chair, I hope we're going to have the opportunity for another round of questions with Ms. Vecchio. She wants to look into the protection of minors from exposure to sexually explicit material online, particularly, I would say, including links to the online crime scene that is Pornhub. So just a flag for all of you to expect some questions about that in the next round from us.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barrett, for that. That concludes your round of questioning. I am going to just make it clear that if there is a written request, which there are written response that's required because of a request from the committee, we will have the clerk follow up with each one of you on what that specific request is to provide documents. And then we're going to set a deadline for a week from today for those documents to be provided to the committee. Okay? Just to make it clear for everyone. Ms. Khalid, you have 6 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you to the witnesses for appearing and for your presentations. And I appreciate that all of you talked about foreign interference and the protection of Canadian data. I think it's very incumbent on all of us to be proactive about protection of Canadians. So I'll turn to Meta first. $9 million penalty in 2020 in Canada for misleading privacy claims, $5 billion penalty for deceiving users in the U.S., 405 million euros penalty in 2022 in Europe. There's a lot more sanctions. What is the issue here with respect to protecting Canadians' privacy here in Canada?
For Meta, go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry, just waiting for things to unmute. Look, I assume you're talking about Cambridge Analytica, which was some years ago now. As we've always maintained, there's no evidence that Canadians' information was shared with Cambridge Analytica. Meta also does not sell our user data at all, unequivocally. Indeed, even when the federal court examined the Cambridge Analytica issue, they agreed with our position, finding that there was insufficient evidence that Canadians' data was shared. And that in any event, Facebook's data sharing practices were adequately disclosed. That said, in the last few years, certainly since 2019, we have transformed privacy at Meta, and we've built one of the most comprehensive privacy programs in the world. And we look forward to building products and services that people love and trust and use with privacy at the forefront.
Thank you. And where do you store Canadian data?
I don't know the answer to that.
Can we get it? Can we get an answer to that, please, if it's okay? Thank you.
Yes,
Just
I will commit to getting back to the committee.
Thank you very much. To Google, how do you make money on people's personal data?
Thank you for the question and the opportunity to share more about our practices. So we build products and services that are secure by default and private by design. And as you know, we make publicly clear, the majority of our revenue is built upon on advertising. And our commitment to our users is to give them visibility into how their information is informing their experience on our services, and to also give them, tools for transparency and to ultimately put them in control into how their information is being used.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I looked on the Apple App Store earlier. So Chrome, which is a product of yours, links location, audio data, search history, browsing history, identifiers, usage data, and then quote-unquote other data to individuals. What do you do with that, with all of that information? How do you use that?
So information ultimately helps to make our products function properly and effectively, to make them more secure, have the ability to detect and mitigate against fraud, and to make them more helpful for individuals. And so, like I said, we provide settings for individuals to make the choices that are right for them in terms of how their information is being collected and used. So we have something called the Privacy Checkup Center, as well as a My Ad Center, where individuals can see at a pretty granular level how this information is being used to inform their experience on our services. And then they have the opportunity to either delete that information or to turn off things like personalized advertising.
Does it actually get deleted?
Yes. So we have, I can't go into detail on our data retention policies here because I'm just not an expert in that domain. But we do provide information to individuals about this in their privacy center. So we also have been leading in putting in place an auto delete function. So for new accounts, having a function that this information auto deletes after 18 months. But ultimately, really, this is all about users being able to make the choices that are right for them. And that's where transparency and providing settings for everybody is a big part of our commitment to privacy by design.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Can you talk to us a little bit about tags on YouTube, specifically MGTOW? It stands for Men Going Their Own Way, which is associated with misogyny through male supremacy ideology. Do you think that allowing such tags impacts the privacy but also the safety of Canadians?
Well, maybe I'll take a step back and just, speak to how we apply our content policies on YouTube. And it's important because our community guidelines, which are quite comprehensive, apply to all content on our platform, whether that's comments, external links, the video itself, etc. And so, responsibility is really at the core of what we, it underpins our entire platform at YouTube. And when we look at, specific instances like this, it's hard, I'm not a trained reviewer in trust and safety. We have over 20,000 people who are trained in this domain. But what we would do is assess whether each piece of content, when we become aware of a concern around that, does meet our standards and our community guidelines.
Thank you, Ms. Patel. That's it, Ms. Khalid, 6 minutes plus. Want to make sure that everybody has their French interpretation on. On va commencer pour
We're going to start with 6 minutes with Mr. Villemur. You have 6 minutes. Thank you. My first questions will be for Ms. Curran from Meta. Ms. Curran, you are the head of public policy in Canada, correct?
Correct.
D'accord.
Great. The committee here looks at privacy and at ethics. And I would like to know, with social media and Facebook being a part of everyone's everyday life, can you say that these services are considered to be an essential service?
Look, I wouldn't say they're an essential service. I think there are tools and products that Canadians enjoy using. They enjoy using our platforms to share information about their families and friends. They enjoy finding out what's happening in their communities. So they're really tools that Canadians use to connect with one another. I think that's particularly important in a country like ours that is so geographically spread out. Communities are far apart from one another. We're dispersed across a very large territory. And so we think Meta's products and services help Canadians connect with one another, not as essential services, but as tools that Canadians enjoy using.
D'accord, mais vous savez, vous mentionnez que les...
You mentioned that Canadians share information. And they also share information on the news. And Meta's decision to block local Canadian news, do you think that keeps Canadians from having access to quality information?
Mr. Villemur, we would love not to be in this position. We would love to have news on our platforms. The problem is that the government, through Bill C-18, the Online News Act, has asked us to pay an uncapped amount, an unknown amount, for content that has no commercial value to us. We believe we provide a great deal of value to news publishers in the form of free distribution and marketing. That amount we've calculated at $230 million per year. We would love to get back to putting news on our platforms and providing publishers with those free tools. We're not able to do that under the framework of the Online News Act. Mr. Villemur, if you could work with your government colleagues to make amendments to that legislation that would allow us to put news back on our platforms, we would love to do that.
Je suis d'accord avec vous parce que, vous savez...
I agree. This allows people to make decisions, to stay informed. I find it unfortunate that Meta doesn't take another step. What are you proposing so that Canadians and Quebecers can be well informed?
Well, we think, Mr. Villemure, that there's still a lot of credible information on our platforms. There's information from Quebec policymakers. There's information from civil society in Quebec. There's information from non-governmental organizations who are based in Quebec. All of those outlets, all of those individuals and groups still have a presence on Facebook and Instagram, and they're still able to share information with Quebecers. Where we're stuck, where the problem is with respect to news outlets. So if we can solve that problem, we could put news content back up on our platforms. But we still think there's a lot of credible information on our platforms for Quebecers to access.
Pourtant, les médias locaux, si je prends un exemple, moi.
But local media, for example, in Trois-Rivières, local media are dying out. They're small, and they're closing one after the other because they can no longer pay for journalists. National media is going to be present, but local news is struggling. They're dying, and I think that the responsibility is shared.
Yeah, I think there's a genuine public policy issue to address here, which is how do we best support local media, journalism? It's a cornerstone of our democracy. And look, Meta was very involved in supporting media outlets and supporting journalism in Canada. We had private deals that were worth close to $20 million per year with news outlets across the country, including in Quebec. Those are no longer possible under the framework of the Online News Act. So I think we need to figure out as industry, as policymakers, how to support journalism, how to support the local news ecosystem in a way that makes sense for all of us. It doesn't make sense to try and extract money from two American tech companies to prop up the Canadian news ecosystem. So let's figure out together a better solution.
Parfait. Mais écoutez, avant que mon temps n'expire, 30 secondes environ.
Thank you. Before my time runs out, can you tell this committee what you would suggest that we do at our committee so that we can bring local media back to Facebook? What can we do as a committee?
Well, I would suggest this, Monsieur Villemure. So look, we have heard this from local publishers as well. We are a very different platform from Google. We do not scrape news content from the internet or aggregate it in our search results. It has very little commercial value to Facebook or Instagram. If we were carved out of the Online News Act, so that the requirements of that act did not apply to us,
Quickly,
or if
Ms.
there was
Curran.
a carve-out for local journalism, we could bring that back onto our platforms.
Okay. Merci, Monsieur Villemure, Madame.
Thank you, Mr. Villemure and Ms. Kern.
Go ahead. I didn't have my microphone on. Mr. Green, 6 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Welcome to all the guests that are present. I'm going to put a series of questions to you in a rather rapid way. If I reclaim my time, it's not to be rude, and I'm certainly not trying to, to make anything personal. But I'm going to put some pretty quick questions. I'm going to start off with Mr. Fernandez. Mr. Fernandez, Amnesty International, in a recent report, cited your shift in the new privacy policy, which allows you to collect users' biometric data and access encrypted messages. But biometric is not determined or defined. How do you define biometric data?
If I may pass that to my colleague, Josh, who
Mr. Harris, please.
Counsel.
Certainly, in the instance of the biometric data that's referred to in the updated privacy policy, that's speaking specifically to information that might be presented on somebody's identification card, like, for example, a picture or any other biometric information that might be on that identification card that they would have presented pursuant to their application to.
And how would it be stored?
It would be stored like any of our other information pursuant to our data classification system. So this would be a higher sensitivity.
Has X ever experienced data breaches?
Yes.
And so you're storing biometric information the same way that you store other information, and you're a company that has already been a victim to data breaches. That's correct?
No, I didn't say it the same way that we store other information. We would do it pursuant to our data classification system. The biometric information would be higher sensitivity, and then there'd be more restrictions on that data.
Would you
on the
agree
storage
that
of
this
that
is
data.
the highest of sensitive information and that it poses a pretty significant security and privacy risk?
Yes, I would.
And also, what are you doing to with that information specifically? Can
So we're
you
not
sell
doing
it?
no, we're not doing anything with the biometric information that we have, other than to note that it is biometric information, facial biometric information that's present on ID cards.
And are you using that to train any AI systems or any
No.
other technology that might be used?
No, we're not.
So what's the purpose of collecting it then?
We'll need that identification, for example, if we need parental consent for somebody to start to sign into an X account or create an X account.
So you're 500 million users, you're collecting all of this biometric information. When people click on, do you believe that the users in this new privacy statement have informed consent when they're clicking through? Do they know what it is they're consenting to?
Yes, I believe that they do. I mean, we work very hard to make sure that our privacy policy is as clear as possible.
Is it written by your legal department?
It's written across a number of teams, including.
Do you
our
believe
legal
that the
department.
average person has the ability to understand terms and references of a privacy agreement?
Our hope is that we're getting to a place where people can understand
your
those
hope?
terms. Well, I believe that they can.
You believe that they do?
Yes.
You believe that young people, teenagers, people who are posting their driver's license online have the ability to understand what it is they're consenting to?
Yes.
That's your position here in your testimony.
Yes, that is the nature of our
Fascinating.
privacy
Okay, I'm going to
policy.
move on to Meta. According to a New York Times article published on November the 25th of this year, Meta has received more than 1.1 million reports of users under the age of 13 on its Instagram platform since early 2019. Yet it disabled only a fraction of those accounts, according to this report. Instead, the social media giant routinely continued to collect children's personal information, like their locations, email address, without parental permission in violation of a federal children's privacy law. Ms. Curran, how do you respond to that?
So listen, we think youth safety is a really key priority for us. We've developed over 30 new tools and features to support safe and positive experiences for teens on our platforms. So I'll just run through some of these very quickly.
Before you do that, I want you just to consider that in the same article, it says an unsealed court filing said that Meta continually failed to make effective age checking systems a priority and instead used approaches that enable users under 13 to lie about their age to set up Instagram accounts. It also accused Meta executives of publicly stating in congressional testimony that the company's age checking process was effective, which is, I'm assuming, to be what you were about to do in your response, and that the company removed underage accounts when it learned of them, even as the executives knew that there were millions of underage users online. It goes on to state in this article, an internal company chart displayed unsealed material, for example, showed that Meta tracked the percentage of 11 and 12-year-olds who use Instagram daily. How do you respond to that?
So Mr. Green, look, we do our best with age verification and with the tools we have available. We remove accounts that don't meet the age standard when we find out that they're underage. But listen, I'm not.
But how about this? How about this, Ms. Curran? The article published by the New York Times on October 24th of this year states Meta has designed psychologically manipulative product features to induce young users compulsive and extended use of platforms like Instagram. The company's algorithms were designed to push children and teenagers into rabbit holes of toxic and harmful content. The states said that features like the infinite scroll and persistence alerts are used to hook users. The Attorney General also charged Meta with violating federal children's online privacy laws, accusing it of unlawfully collecting the personal data of its youngest users without parental consent.
Mr.
Yeah, we
Green.
disagree with that. We disagree with that, Mr. Green. Look, mental health is a complex, individualized issue impacted by a variety of societal and emotional factors.
Thank you,
As
Ms.
many
Curran.
experts in the field say,
Ms.
it's
Curran?
wrong and even irresponsible to suggest that a single factor
Ms.
is the
Curran,
cause of trends in teen mental health.
I apologize, but we are over time by a bit here, so that concludes our first round. If there's any other issues that you want to address, you can do that perhaps in the next round. Ms. Vecchio, 5 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Today in the House of Commons, we actually passed Bill S210 to go to committee, and what it's looking at is age verification to ensure that minors are not seeing pornography. I'm going to start with you, Jeanette, if you don't mind, regarding parental controls. Can you share with me right now how many children are able to, or how many children, as you're investigating, are able to bypass those parental controls? Do you have statistics showing that?
Well, maybe what I can speak to is on YouTube, for example, we have, as you are likely aware, YouTube is designed for users 13 years of age and older. And in order to have a YouTube account, they have to go through a process, including where date of birth is provided. Our systems,
just a quick question on there. Just a quick question on there, because I know my son, who's 20 years old, is probably celebrating his 40th birthday soon. So I'm just wondering, can you not just lie about your date of birth?
So our systems, so let me maybe walk you through the steps. Because what we do is we have a neutral process where we ask for a date of birth. And then if a user indicates, for example, that they are under the age requirement, there's no takebacks. So that attempt is blocked and we funnel them through to our parental supervision process. That said, if our system does
Okay, I appreciate that. What is it? Can you very, very quickly, because I don't have lots of time, but what does that look like? At what point do you find out, specifically when I'm looking at pornography, if you were going to go and rent a movie, you would have to be over the age of 18. So if you're able to get pornography online, how can we ensure that children under the age of 18 are not being able to get pornography?
So maybe I'll speak to two things here. First, pornography is not allowed on YouTube. Any sexually explicit content, nudity is not allowed on YouTube. So that violates our community guidelines.
Can I have a quick question there? Have you had to, though, pull down, you've noted how many times, and I've seen on accounts, people are pulling down accounts. Have you had to pull down pornography off of your regular YouTube sites?
So thank you for that. So we publish quarterly transparency reports, and we break down the reasons for which we would be removing that for any content. And yes, we would be removing sexually explicit content or content where there is nudity. That would be one of the areas that we are enforcing our policies, where we are enforcing our policies. I think it's important to note that over 90% of the time, that violative content is first detected by our machines, which allows us to deal with this at scale and to do it rapidly, to remove content rapidly from our systems. And then we also enable users to report content they have concerns around so that it can be reviewed and removed if it violates our policies.
Very fair, and I appreciate that. Maybe I can move over to Facebook here and just talk about that, because we recognize that things, we were talking about rabbit holes, and I think that came up where 11 and 12-year-olds are getting on rabbit holes, which I think that's what led me to finding pornography one time unintentionally with my 11-year-old son. So could you share with me what is there in Facebook to ensure that there is nothing that is explicit online, or that a child could not be able to access, a child, adult who doesn't intend to, but to ensure that we don't go down some type of rabbit hole like that?
Yeah, thank you for raising this really important issue, Ms. Vecchio. So Facebook significantly restricts the display of nudity or sexual activity on our platforms. We don't allow it. And in fact, we remove sexual imagery to prevent the sharing of non-consensual or underage content as well. Restrictions on the display of sexual activity also apply to digitally created content, unless it's posted for educational or satirical purposes. So we remove any explicit material. In fact, we've run into criticism previously for over-enforcing on that kind of material and not allowing images of breastfeeding, for instance. So we're constantly kind of working to make sure our policies are nuanced enough so that we're not over enforcing on explicit imagery.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to switch over to the X Corporation, and I just want to find out, what does it come to explicit content? Once again, we know rabbit holes are there. What do you do to ensure that explicit content is not available to the viewers?
30 seconds.
Sure. For users who are under 18 or who did not include a birth date on their profile, they're restricted from viewing such content.
Thank you, Ms. Vecchio. Mr. Baines, 5 minutes. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to our witnesses for joining us today. I'll begin with my first question to Google. Has Google or YouTube ever shared the data of Canadians with foreign governments or other jurisdictions?
Well, thank you for the question. I'm actually going to turn to my colleague.
Certainly. So we publish our transparency reports on government requests about lawful data access, which Jeanette spoke to in her opening statement. All requests we push back on. We assess each request under both the US law and the local law, and also under international norms. And then we assess each one and then provide data. And then we have transparency reports. We also reveal that if user data is provided, we provide that where we are able to under the law.
My question was to foreign governments, to other governments, if the information is shared. I'll move on, and maybe this can explain a little bit better. On December 6, U.S. Senator Wyden released a letter stating that unidentified governments are surveilling smartphone users via their apps' push notifications. These are the audible dings or visual indicators users get when they receive an email or their sports team wins a game, most of which travel over Google or Apple servers. What can you tell us about these government requests for user data?
Thanks for the question. We are aware of Senator Wyden's letter and investigating. This was from I am not aware of the specifics, and specifics were not provided with regards to this anonymous source. I would say that anything provided here would fall under the same policies I just spoke about in terms of it would need to be under lawful requests coming from a legal process, which we would assess closely, and any such request would be covered under our transparency reports.
Okay, thank you. I'll move on to a similar question for Meta. Has Meta ever shared the data of Canadians with foreign governments or other jurisdictions?
Thank you for that question. I'll turn it over to my colleague, Mr. Gleischer.
Thank you for the question. Not too dissimilar from what our colleagues from Google described. We review lawful requests that we receive from governments around the world. We review them carefully, both under U.S. law, local law, and international norms. We push back on requests that are overly broad. And when we do disclose data, we have a report where we share information about any data that was disclosed. But here we're talking about pursuant to lawful requests and response to those requests.
So in February, U.S. Senators Warner and Rubio wrote to a letter to Meta about documents that demonstrate Meta knew developers in China and Russia had access to user data that could be used for espionage. The letter refers to an internal Meta document which claims 90,000 developers in China had been given access to information about users, including profile data, photos, and private messages, even though Facebook has never been able to operate in China. At the time, Meta did not respond to the Reuters for comment. Are you able to do so now?
I'm not aware of the specifics of this particular instance. What I can tell you is we proactively investigate and hunt for cyber espionage campaigns, efforts by foreign governments to spy on innocent people around the world. We regularly report on that work through our quarterly reports where we describe the enforcements we've taken. And then we share information about any operations that we do identify with others in industry so that they can take action as well. One of the things that we've seen is that these types of campaigns are broad efforts that target the internet broadly, multiple platforms, and often involve off-platform activity as well. And so investigating these, disclosing information on them, and then sharing that information with other parties is a really important part of tracking and countering these adversaries.
Okay, so with respect to the specifics I outlined there, could you please provide any information you can in writing to the committee, please?
As I said, I'm not aware, I don't know the details of that, but I'd be happy for us to come back with more information.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Baines. Monsieur Villemure, pour 2 minutes et demie, s'il vous plaît. Commencez.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Madame Curran.
Thank you. I'll come back to you, Ms. Curran. Following our discussion earlier, you talked about 2 American companies, but is it more important to make money than to keep people informed?
Mr. Villemure, we do think we keep people informed through the credible information we have on our platforms. Additionally, we would be more than happy to bring news content back up on our platforms. We believe we provide a great deal of marketing and distribution value to local news publishers. We'd like to proceed in partnership with them if we can do so under the framework of the current legislation.
Merci beaucoup. Est-ce que vous diriez que en matière de vie privée,
for privacy, would Meta be an example to follow, or do they do the legal minimum?
So we have totally overhauled our privacy practices in the last number of years, Monsieur Villemure. We really embed privacy considerations at the front end of the design of all of our products and services now. And we can go through that in a great deal of detail for you if you'd like. But privacy is one of the key considerations now in building anything we offer to the public.
Merci beaucoup. Dans un autre ordre d'idée complètement.
Now, on a completely different topic, can you describe what pornography is for Meta?
Monsieur Villemure, we do not allow sexually explicit material on our platforms. We remove it when we identify it, and we report out on those removal efforts through our Transparency Center. You can see how many pieces of content we've removed.
Merci.
Thank you. I understand that you're removing it, but what is it? What is the criteria that you use?
So we remove content that our systems and our reviewers, our moderators identify as sexually explicit. The definition of that, Monsieur Villemure, is set out in our community standards, which are public. So we enforce against content according to the definitions set out in our community standards.
Moi, mais c'est pas très clair, là.
That's not very clear.
Okay.
Sorry, Monsieur Villemure, I think I missed that question.
Je disais que je trouvais.
I was saying that I don't find that very clear, and I don't find that easy to understand.
Okay, we are at a time.
We'd be happy to.
Yeah. Ms. Curran, perhaps you could supply the committee with what the standard is through Meta?
Yeah, look, I think this is a really important issue, Mr. Broussard. I'd be happy to provide Monsieur Villemure with the definition that we use of sexually explicit material in our community standards and what we remove.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Curran. I would suggest that you do that through the clerk so it can be distributed to the committee. Mr. Green, 2.5 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Ms. Curran, in your previous testimony, you I think, disagreed with the characterization of the New York Times article talking about Meta's involvement with youth. I'll turn your attention to written testimony by Arturo Bejar in the Congressional Subcommittee on Privacy, Technology, and Law, dated November 7th, 2023. And just for the record, he was a senior engineer and product leader at Facebook responsible to keep users safe and supported. In his written testimony to that congressional hearing, he said that he sent a detailed email to Mark Zuckerberg. In it explained that the number of people reporting the surveys that they had a negative experience on Instagram was 51% every week, but only 1% of those reported the offending content, and only 2% of those succeeded in getting the offended content taken down. He detailed the staggering levels of abuse that teens 13 to 15 were experiencing every week, and initial data from the research team indicated that as many as 21.8% of 13 to 15-year-olds said that they were targeted of bullying within the past week. And there's many more statistics that are put there. So if you don't agree with the New York Times article, that's fine. But what do you say to your former senior engineer responsible for safety on Facebook, given the what I think an indictment in his written testimony before the congressional privacy hearing?
So thank you, Mr. Green. Again, we've developed more than 30 new tools and features to support safe and positive experiences for teens and their families.
When was that developed?
So we've developed that over the last couple of years in particular, Mr. Green, but it dates back further than that. But these tools I'm referencing now, for instance, we set teens' accounts to private. When they join Instagram or Facebook, we prevent adults they don't follow from sending them messages. We limit the amount of potentially sensitive content they can see and explore or search or reels. We prohibit content that promotes suicide or self-harm or eating disorders.
So did these developments happen after 2021, after October 5th, 2021? Because the whistleblower in this context stated that was in 2021, and he went on to say that they, children were receiving unwanted sexual advances, and that an even higher percentage of these children are receiving them on a monthly basis, these unwanted advances. So did that happen before or after 2021? These new tools that you're talking about?
Very quick response.
Look,
Very quick response, Ms. Kern.
Yes, a lot of these tools were developed recently in the last couple of years. Youth safety, of course, has been a priority long before that. But the tools I'm talking about have been developed recently.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Kern. Mr. Green, again, to our guests, make sure you have your French interpretation on. Monsieur Gould, pour 5 minutes, s'il vous plaît. Commencez.
Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My first question will be for Meta. In 2019 and 2021, during the election campaign, there was foreign interference, and they used your platform. And these influence campaigns were used to make certain candidates lose. We have now been made aware of the details of all of that. And now for the next federal election, is there a possibility for Meta to have a bit more oversight? Is there a complaint process if we realize that in certain ridings people are targeted? Do we complain to your platform directly and to Elections Canada, because CSIS and the RCMP aren't able to help us during that time?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Gord. In fact, there's no evidence that any foreign interference or influence operations targeting Canadians during the last election were present on our platforms. For more detail on that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues, Mr. Gleischer and Dr. Hundley.
Thank you, Rachel, and thank you for the question. We investigate proactively and enforce against any foreign interference operations that we identify, and then we publish information about them in our quarterly threat reports. When we publish that information, we also publish details on particular countries or regions that were significantly targeted. And when we do have proof, we will also publish information about who or what organization was behind the operation. So we have a data set that outlines every single influence operation we've identified and removed from our platforms that is available for download and review, which we would be happy to provide to the committee, which also includes the information I'm describing to be able to look backwards.
Merci. Ma question va être plus précise.
Thank you. So for my next question, during the next election, is there a process to send a complaint directly to you if we realize that there is some foreign influence on your platform, something that cannot be covered by Election Canada? What can we do? How can we work with you to avoid such an issue?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Gord. Yeah, we'd be happy to set up a protocol with policymakers specifically to do that. I can tell you ahead of any election in Canada, we work not just with Elections Canada, but with Global Affairs and with the Privy Council office to make sure that we're monitoring and addressing any issues on our platforms, including foreign interference. But we would be happy to set up a another or a different protocol with members of parliament specifically.
Vous venez de nous dire que vous avez travaillé.
You just said that you worked with Elections Canada and the Privy Council in 2019 and 2021, and that seems to not have worked. We found out that there were issues. So what you've said seems to contradict the reality. Were those protocols already in place in 2019?
They were, Mr. Gord, and in fact, we found no issues, no problems on our platforms during the last couple of elections, including the one in 2019. And, you know, we work quite rigorously ahead of time, ahead of those elections, as well as during and afterwards to monitor for any problems and remove any problematic content. For instance, we've reported out on that publicly, and we did not see any evidence of foreign interference on Meta platforms during the last election or the one in 2019.
Est-ce que ma question va être pour Google Canada?
My next question is for Google Canada. On your platforms, did you detect any foreign interference during the elections in 2019 and 2021?
I can take that question. My team tracks very closely the foreign interference operations, and as I said, we are transparent about what we do detect. We have not detected any interference in Canadian elections on our platform as part of our investigations over the last number of years.
Ma prochaine question pour X.
My next question is for X. You mentioned that Twitter can be used to rally fake news. Do you have a protocol for removing fake news during an election period?
So there are a couple of interventions that are applicable here. First is our civic integrity policy. Our civic integrity policy targets 4 areas of potential violations: misleading information that could be misleading about how to participate in an election, misleading information that could intimidate people from participating, information that could suppress the vote, and false affiliation, so impersonation. Secondly, we have a product that we've been investing a lot of resources in called Community Notes, which is a decentralized approach for the community on X to add context to content they believe may be misleading and that would be helpful for other readers. This allows people on X to become a contributor and both rate the helpfulness of these community notes as well as write notes.
Thank you, Mr. Fernandez.
And that'll be, you're welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Callaway, 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks to the witnesses here today. My first series of questions will go to Meta, and then, if we have time, Google. But the first one is around a Wall Street Journal. They reported in 2021 that there is a clear link between Instagram and detrimental mental health effects. I'm just wondering if you can crystallize the actions taken by Meta since this particular report. Maybe Ms. Curran, or we could start there.
Yeah, sorry. I was just trying to unmute myself. So listen, I talked about some of the new tools and features that we've developed to keep teens safe on our platforms and address any concerns around safety or mental health. Let me talk about some of the tools we've developed for parents as well. We have parental tools that let parents and guardians now see who their teen reports or blocks and set blocking hours for when they can use our platforms. We also launched recently the Family Center with expert resources on how to have dialogues with teens about their online habits. We also give teens ways to manage their time so it's intentional and meaningful on social media. So we give them the option to set time limits or turn on take a break on Instagram to remind them from take regular breaks while scrolling social media. And we send teens notifications to remind them of that. And we also notify them when it might be time to look at something different if they've been scrolling on the same topic for a while.
Thank you, Ms. Kern. I think I'll stay with you, if that's possible. Is there more recent data available on the mental health of users who use Instagram or Facebook? And I'm thinking particularly of youth, male and female demographics.
Yeah, look, the most recent research that we have doesn't support the hypothesis that digital technology is behind trends in teen mental health and well-being. The existing body of research doesn't actually rule out other common factors like economic instability, substance use, academic pressure. And there's also a growing body of research that suggests social media can play a positive role in teens' lives and provide support in particular to those who are struggling or members of marginalized groups. So look, we're always reviewing this research, funding external independent researchers to look into these issues.
Okay.
But so far the research is really mixed.
Okay, thank you very much. And last for you, Ms. Curran or your colleagues at Meta, are messages on Facebook stored? I just want to make sure I get it correctly. Are they stored?
Maybe I'll turn it over to my colleague, Mr. Gleischer, on that. And if he doesn't have the answer, we will get back to the committee in writing.
I think to give you a full and comprehensive answer, I think it would be best for us to come back to you on writing on that one.
Okay, that'd be wonderful. Mr. Chair, how much time do I have?
You have, Mr. Galloway, 1 minute and 38 seconds.
Excellent. So we're going to go to Google. So do voice products such as Google Assist and Google Home have the capability to store recorded audio rather?
Thank you for the question. So when we, with devices, they will all have individual settings, so people can make the choices that are right for them. And I think your question was whether the audio could be stored. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
So the audio, I think I'll need to get back to you on that.
That'd be great. I mean, if it's a no, that's one thing. If it's yes, if this could be incorporated in the response back, I'd like to know why. Why the need for the audio to be stored. So if that could be part of the response back, Mr. Chair, that'd be appreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Kellaway. Juste en avant de commencer la prochaine.
Just before we move on to the next round of questions, we have 20 minutes left with witnesses. If we have unanimous consent, for Mr. Villemure and Mr. Green, can we have 5-minute rounds for all parties? Is that all right with you? And we'll end with that. Is that all right with everyone?
5 minutes.
We talked about in Ms. Vecchio's questions about the protection of folks from the inadvertent exposure to sexually explicit material. I'm keenly interested, though, in what steps each of your platforms are taking to prevent the transmission or display of sexually exploitive material, sometimes referred to as child pornography, on your platforms. I think that the prevalence of sexually explicit materials in and of itself, and what you're doing, each of your respective platforms are doing with respect to age verification, is one issue. This is a separate issue from that. So if you could each take about 45 seconds, we'll start with the same order that I went through last time with X Corp, to say what active steps are you taking to prevent the facilitation or distribution of sexually exploitive materials of minors on your platform. Starting with X, please.
Thank you for the question. So child sexual exploitation has no place on X, and we're working to make it the most inhospitable place for people that want to distribute child sexual abuse materials. Over the last year, we've been more aggressive in our enforcement of such material on the service, restricting the search for this material, increasing our training for agents to make reports to the cyber tip line, automating our process for reporting to the cyber tip line for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in the United States, which acts as a clearinghouse globally for tip lines in different jurisdictions. We recently announced a product partnership with Thorn to enhance our detection capabilities. So we're doing a lot in this space. The work continues, but this has zero purpose on our platform.
Same question to Meta, please.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. We lead the industry in this space. I'm really proud of our work on this front. It's so important. We've developed new technologies to keep this abhorrent abuse off our platforms. In fact, we've removed more than 34 million pieces of child exploitation content from Facebook and Instagram in Q4 of 2022, over 98% of which was detected before it was reported. And we use a combination of technology and behavior signals to detect and prevent grooming, child grooming, or potentially inappropriate interactions between minors and adults. We also help law enforcement find and prosecute the criminals who commit these heinous acts, including by responding to requests for information from law enforcement, providing instructional guidelines and trainings, and supporting the development of a case management tool for the National Center on Child Exploitation's cyber tips. We've also built long-standing partnerships with anti-trafficking experts and child safety organizations, including organizations like One Child in Canada, to help protect kids, including, other organizations include Thorn, Polaris, Stop the Traffic. And look, I would say this, although we are doing industry-leading work, our work is never done here. It's a highly adversarial space. We know there are a lot of bad actors there, online and offline, and we're going to prioritize our work to protect vulnerable kids.
I appreciate your answer. Thank you. I have 45 seconds remaining to Google with the same question, please.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to this, because there's nothing more important than keeping children safe. And, at Google and at YouTube, one of the things that we do, so in addition to many of the work, the similar activities as the other platforms in detecting and removing this content, we also are leaders in providing hashes of that content to NCMEC, so that, and then freely providing those hashes to other platforms so that this content cannot be recirculated on other platforms. And we work with law enforcement to ensure that perpetrators are prosecuted where possible and as appropriate. So we are very focused on not allowing this content on YouTube. And the final thing I'll say on that is that when you look at our policy, our community guidelines around nudity and sexually explicit content, you'll notice that in fact it's written in such a way that content that is intended for sexual gratification is prohibited on YouTube, and that allows us that is informed by our work with external experts in this case.
Thank you, Ms. Patel. Ms. Khalid, 5 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'll start again with Meta, and this is a yes or no question, if that's okay. You did say that that Meta is not an essential service. Billions of people use it across the world. Do you think that you have a responsibility, a duty to protect Canadians?
Listen.
Sorry, just a yes or no, if that's okay. I want to get around to everybody, please.
Sorry, the question's not entirely clear. Protect Canadians from what, Ms. Khalid?
To provide a safe platform for them to be able to use this service that you give to them.
Agreed, and to provide credible information on that platform, yes.
Thank you. To Google, the same question. Do you have a duty to protect Canadians on your platform?
We take responsibility very seriously, and it is our number one priority to provide a responsible and safe platform.
But do you have a
for all of
duty
our
to protect
users.
Canadians on your platform, is what I'm asking.
I'm not certain about the precise wording. I would say that we have recognized our responsibility to all partners and users on our platform to have a safe
So
platform
who are
for
these
everyone.
partners and users? Are you just talking about the users, like the average Canadian who has a Gmail account, who has a YouTube account, et cetera, et cetera? They're all linked together. All of their data stored in one spot. We don't know exactly where that data is stored. Are you talking about those people? Are you talking about third-party contractors that you would potentially be partnering with to provide these services to Canadians as well?
So our responsibility is to all of our partners, whether that is our creators on YouTube, the users of YouTube, advertisers on YouTube. We have built a model where responsibility underpins the entire framework. And so that is really, at its core, how we keep our platform safe for everyone, whether they're in Canada or around the world.
Thank you. I appreciate that. 2X, same question. Do you have a responsibility, a duty to protect Canadians that use your platform?
As the town square, we want people to be able to participate safely in the public conversation.
Well, town square, there are often opportunities for mobs to gather for lynching. I mean, if we're making that analogy, do you, as the owner of the platform, have a responsibility to provide a safe space for Canadians to partake in a public square kind of atmosphere, one that is filled with real information, safe from misinformation, safe from disinformation?
Yes, accuracy of information is of utmost importance.
And what about
Community
safety
notes.
of those that use the platform?
Absolutely. Abuse and harassment has no place in the town square.
So then I pose to you, what are you going to do to protect Canadians that are suffering? How are we going to maintain the rights of Canadians, especially those that are of minor age, on the platform that you provide, that so many of us use?
We'll continue to rigorously enforce all of our policies that help keep them safe, especially minors.
Do you think that you have also an obligation to work with government to create that safe space, all levels of government and community partners?
Sure. Actually, compliance with laws all around the world is essential, and so we want to be, thoughtful partners in complying with laws of different lands. Absolutely.
So I think this is going to be my last question. There was a question that was asked earlier about foreign governments accessing Canadian data, and I do forget which one of you it was that said that lawful requests of foreign governments seeking access to Canadian data are allowed. Can you please define what lawful request of a foreign government would be accessing Canadian data?
Who are you directing that to?
I don't remember who it was. It was, yeah, so I would like perhaps brief answers from everybody, if that's okay. Was it? Lecker, please.
Mr. Gleicher, go ahead, please.
Whenever we receive a request from law enforcement or government around the world, there's a number of international legal frameworks that enable governments to make lawful requests of platforms and of other organizations for information across borders. We review those requests carefully.
Sorry, I'm just going to stop you right there. I'm just looking for a definition of what it means of a lawful request. If you can provide that in writing, that would be great.
I'm going to suggest that all three of our guests provide that in writing to the clerk. I think it's a really important question that needs to be answered. So thank you, Ms. Khalid. Monsieur Villemure, pour 5 minutes, s'il vous plaît.
Thank you very much. Ms. Curran, I will move to your colleague next. Mr. Harris, what can you tell us about foreign interference that we haven't yet heard here?
Sorry, I want to make sure that I understand the question. Foreign interference, is it regards to anything in
particular?
L'ingérence étrangère dans les politiques canadiennes.
Foreign interference in Canadian policies.
Well, we have a series of policies that we've discussed at some length today that involve the protection of all users, including Canadian users, from any outside interference with their data, whether that's illegal hacking activity. Sorry?
Apologies, I'm going to have to interrupt you. I know that you have policies, but what can you teach us? What do we not yet know, in your view?
Well, when you're talking about foreign interference, I want to make sure that I'm as responsive as possible here. Are you talking specifically about? Can you give me a definition of foreign interference?
Je vous remercie.
I don't have a lot of time, so I'll move on. Ms. Hundley, the same question. You're responsible for influence policies, and so on foreign interference, what can you tell us? So, do you have anything that you can share with us that we don't already know?
So one thing that I would highlight is that, as we noted in our latest transparency report, earlier this year, we did detect and remove a cluster of commenting activity from the influence operation known in the security community as Spamouflage that targeted audiences in Canada. Researchers at the Australian Strategic Policy Institute have described this operation's use of likely generative AI audio and doctored YouTube videos shared on other platforms that had zero or minimal engagement with real users. So Spamouflage is a long-running cross-internet operation with global targeting that we and other industry peers have been enforcing since 2019. And in August, we removed thousands of accounts and pages under our CIB policies after we were able to connect different clusters of activities to be together to be part of a single operation that we were able to attribute to individuals associated with Chinese law enforcement. The one thing I will highlight here is that these operations are cross-internet operations. So this particular activity known as Spamouflage actually operated on over 50 platforms and forums across the internet, including Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Reddit, Pinterest, Medium, Blogspot, LiveJournal, Vimeo, and dozens of other smaller platforms. So we really do believe that countering foreign interference is something that requires a whole of society effort.
Merci beaucoup. Est-ce que si vous pouviez nous fournir...
Thank you. Can you send that in written format as well? That would be very useful for the committee. I have that same question for Mr. Huntley, please.
Similar to what I've already been spoken about, we've also been tracking Spamouflage Dragon, also known as Dragon Bridge. I think, as pointed out, it's important to realize that many of these campaigns may be high in volume, but very low in actual effects because of all the efforts to actually shut these down. It is actually much more difficult to actually get engagement on platforms as these foreign coordinated actors than many people realize. And I think that is part due to the strong partnerships that we have with both governments and actually across the industry here, including, this is not the first time many of us have met before. So this work will be ongoing, and we will apply it across the board, and we're all continually increasing our understanding and looking for this coordinated activity across our platforms.
Je vais retourner à Mme Hundley, s'il vous plaît. Madame Hundley.
I'll go back to Ms. Hundley. Developments in AI, might they have an impact on foreign interference through social media?
Yeah, so that's an important question. I think that it's important to start by just noting what we have seen with regards to AI-generated content from foreign interference operations so far. And here I would note that the use of AI-generated content is not new. Since 2019, we have identified CIB operations on our platforms that have used profile pictures that are generated by a technique called generative adversarial networks, also known as GAN profiles. And in fact, but this use of AI-generated content doesn't allow these networks to evade our behavioral-based detections. So in fact, over 2/3 of the CIB operations that we removed last year featured this type of AI-generated content. We have seen newer operations using the kind of more latest generative AI techniques, and there are challenges that we would anticipate there, included related to the the scale of the content that can be created, but we fundamentally believe that from what we've seen, that a behavior-based approach is still well suited for identifying covert influence operations early in their life cycle.
Thank you, Ms. Hundley.
This is because when we see these operations, by the time they post this content, they will have left a lot of behavioral signals that we can still detect. And I'm happy to provide more information on that.
I'm sure we would love to hear more about that. Actually, I quite enjoy listening to you speak, Ms. Hundley. You've got a lot of knowledge in this area, I can tell. Mr. Green, 5 minutes, please. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, through you to Ms. Patel. Ms. Patel, in referencing Google, a lot of the conversation here today has been centered around the search platform and on the kind of public-facing interactions as it relates to their privacy and information. I'm going to take a step back from that, and I'm going to reference the guiding principles on business and human rights, which has been put forward by the United Nations Human Rights Office of the High Commission. Would you agree that companies have a responsibility to respect standards of international humanitarian law?
Thank you. I think, Google is committed to respecting an approach to our all of our products and services that puts user safety and privacy at the
forefront. Do you have a responsibility to the standards of international humanitarian law?
I'm not a lawyer, so okay. I'm not in a position to be able to answer that.
Well, the international law would state that you do, and it would state that humanitarian law imposes obligations on business managers and staff not to breach the rules of international law. And I bring that up in the context of not your search engine platform, but rather your cloud services that you provide. And I want to hear from you on Project Nimbus. As you may know, Project Nimbus is a cloud computing project by the Israeli government and its military. And it basically has come under condemnation for the use of the cloud computing services, including artificial intelligence and machine learning, particularly as the project leads to furthering abuses of Palestinian human rights in the context of the ongoing occupation and the Israeli bombardment of Gaza. So specifically to that point, I want to ask if you could just elaborate on Google's use of machine learning and artificial intelligence in what has been described by many UN experts as ongoing war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza.
So when it comes to Project Nimbus, it's not a project that I'm not personally familiar with that contract, but I can, I think Google has said publicly that it is a project that is related to workloads that run on our commercial platform by the Israeli government industries such as finance, healthcare, transportation, and education. When it comes to, so that
but primarily you would agree that the primary contract in the Israeli government is the military and the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning as it relates to surveillance within the occupied Palestinian territories.
No, I wouldn't agree with that. I think the work under Project Nimbus is not directed at highly sensitive or classified military workloads that are relevant to weapons or intelligence services. And when it comes to our AI systems and products, all of our AI products are anchored on our AI principles that we were a leader in publishing in 2018. So we've been thinking about responsible AI development for a very long time. And one of the first principles that we have articulated in that is that AI needs to be developed for socially beneficial purposes, designed to avoid reinforcing bias.
Is it your testimony here today that your product is not being used for surveillance and unlawful data collection by the Israeli government? Is that your testimony here today?
So as I said, I can't speak to the specifics in that contract or how the question that
maybe perhaps you could speak to the use of Google Ventures, your venture capital side of Google. Again, not the forward public-facing thing, but where ABC, the Alphabet company, stashes its money, and in particular, maybe speaking to Project Maven and the use of drone technology there. Obviously, many of your former staffers have gone into these types of military contracts, which still have a connection with Google Ventures. Can you just talk a little bit about Project Maven and its implications?
So maybe I'll turn to my colleague Shane Huntley, because again, this is not a project that I'm an expert on.
Shane, you got 40 seconds.
My understanding is Project Maven did not go ahead. And what I would say specifically that since that time, we have developed these AI principles, which specifically have kind of, undertakings that we are not pursuing, weapons or other technologies for the principal purpose and technologies for the specific harm. So since that time, and we've been very clear about how we are thinking about AI, and these AI principles underpin everything we do in this space and every product we provide and all of the development we do. And these AI principles are the guiding light which we use.
Thank you, sir. I want to thank all our witnesses for being here today as part of this study. I am going to remind all of you that you will be receiving emails from the clerks with the questions that have been asked by the committee members for you to respond. I'm going to remind you that I'd like to impose a deadline for those responses right up until December 20th at 5 p.m., so that's 1 week from today. You should be hearing from the clerk tomorrow at some point. The other thing that I'd like to do is remind members that if you do have questions for any one of these witnesses, to submit them to the clerk, if you can, by 5 p.m. tomorrow. That way we can give our witnesses enough opportunity to answer those questions within that week to December 20th. So again, thank you, Meta. Thank you, Google, and thank you, X, for being here today. I'm going to dismiss the witnesses because I do have some committee business that I'd like to discuss. And a reminder to all committee members that we are going to go in camera. There's an agreement among the parties that this concludes our social media study and that we are going to provide drafting directions to our analysts as well. So thank you, witnesses, for being here. Thank you, and you're dismissed. Thank you. Okay, so for the purpose, thanks, Mr. Barrett. For the purposes of our committee, we haven't yet figured out what the dates of our meetings are going to be, but I did want to list where we are at. As far as potential meeting dates, the first one, and I apologize to all committee members, I wasn't able to be here on Monday, but we are working to have the Commissioner of the RCMP and the Staff Sergeant appear as soon as possible when we get back. We're hoping the week of the 29th for that to happen. And that is the motion related to SNC-Lavalin. Then a reminder to the committee that the motion for spyware has been approved for up to 6 meetings. And although we, again, a reminder to the committee that SDTC is technically done as far as this committee is concerned, so we are not expected to report to anyone in that motion. So I just wanted to remind you of that. And then again, on the draft report for the social media study, we're going to go in camera soon to provide drafting instructions to our analysts, and we expect that we could have that report when we get back. So we will have to consider some meetings when we get back to deal with the draft of that report. So, Mr. Barrett, go ahead. That's all I wanted to talk about, but I saw your hand. Go ahead, please.
How long do we have before, what time are we done, Chair?
We're done at 6:40.
Okay.
And we have to go in camera. I just want to...
So just with respect to the schedule, you talked about the end of the SDTC study. And so I've sent a motion to the clerk that I'm going to put forward for the committee's consideration, just in light of testimony that we heard at another committee this week. And I'll be brief in my presentation of it and give committee members opportunity to consider and respond. Given the testimony heard from the SDTC whistleblower on Monday, December 11th, 2023, in which the individual states the Minister of Industry lied before this committee regarding the government's knowledge and handling of serious conflict of interest and misappropriation of taxpayer money, the committee immediately expanded study into SDTC for an additional 6 meetings, and the committee heard testimony from the Minister of Industry, the SDTC whistleblower, officials from the Privy Council Office, industry officials, Annette Verscheren, Leah Lawrence, Guy Ouimet, André-Lise Methot, and all other witnesses deemed relevant to this committee study. Chair, what I'll say is...
Just to confirm, are you giving notice or are you moving the motion?
I'm moving the motion,
okay,
Chair.
Go ahead.
And the clerk has it and is able
so
to circulate it in both official languages.
Go ahead.
Chair, this week we heard from the whistleblower at another
Just
committee.
as a point of order.
Go ahead. Point of order, Mr. Green.
I'm just wondering if the notice is if we've been given and accorded the due time frame for notices. I understood that they needed at least 48 hours. Is that correct?
Because
this is not an at-hand motion based on any kind of debate that we're currently involved in.
Okay, let me just double check with the clerk here, and I'll get back to you, Mr. Green. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Green, we are in committee business, so I am going to rule the motion admissible at this point. So
is it, Mr. Chair, is it that we don't need to provide notice of motion anymore, that we could table drop at any point in time any motion that we see fit?
Well,
is
the
that
fact,
the ruling of the
the
chair?
fact that we're in committee business, that is my ruling, Mr. Green. We are in committee business, so I'm going to allow this motion to stand.
Can you, if I could, through you, Mr. Chair, on the point of order, if you could, to the clerk, just to reference the standing order that allows us to waive the notice of motion period. I understand that an at-hand motion that is related to a debate, could be put at any time. But I always thought, and I'm happy to be corrected and learn something new here today, that a notice of motion time period is still required in order to be considered prior to it being duly put.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Green. I am going to reference to the clerk at this point, and perhaps she can provide some guidance. Thank you. Madam Clerk. Yeah, and there's no specific, Mr. Green, reference to the standing orders. It's subject to the chair allowing the motion to be admitted as part of debate. I am determining that because we are in committee business, I'm giving Mr. Barrett the opportunity to present this motion, and that's the ruling that
I'll
I'm
respect
making.
your decision, and I'll be sure to use this as an appropriate tool moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Go ahead, Mr. Barrett.
Chair, we had at a standing committee this week a whistleblower raise $150 million in misappropriation, raised serious concerns about the testimony given by a minister of the Crown at this committee. I think it's important that the committee, when planning its agenda, that we give due regard to this. Look, we had the former chair of this committee pop smoke and vanish mid-appearance at industry yesterday, and we had the chair and CEO both resign from this organization following their appearances at this committee. So there's been an awful lot of developments since the motion was first moved. I think it's important that that we put some meetings on the schedule and that we follow up on the testimony that we heard from the whistleblower on Monday at the industry committee. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. Ms. Fortier, Madame Fortier, commencez, s'il vous plaît.
Can we go directly to the vote, please?
Sure. I don't have anybody else on the list.
Yeah, I do. Sorry. I'm trying to piece this together, Mr. Chair. My apologies. This is table drop with like 10 minutes left to go in our meeting, and I would like to better understand what's before us here, because I'm just pulling up the stories now. I admittedly, Mr. Chair, missed whatever revelations happened. And so I do have a couple of questions. Is this being covered at industry, the same exact study?
My understanding is that it is, Mr. Green.
Okay, so Mr. Chair, I would say this, and I think it's important to be on the record before any, conservative fundraising campaigns go up talking about a cover-up. This is a conversation that we had at this committee. Many of you will recall that it was the will of this committee to wait until further investigations happened prior to revisiting this. I think, I'm just going to say this, Mr. Chair, part of the process that we've been witnessing as a tactic is to have every committee run, parallel studies, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 meetings at a time, jamming up our studies. And I know that Mr. Villamere has a study that is supposed to happen in our return. And so, I'm interested in this, Mr. Chair. I want to be on the record so people can see quite clearly that if this whistleblower has real merit to the things that they're saying around a potential breach of our parliamentary privilege by having a minister, as the allegation says, allegedly lie to this committee, that is a significant thing. That is no small thing. And I want to make sure that we give it the seriousness and attention that that type of allegation would require. What I'm troubled with is that, it's 6:30, 10 or 15 minutes after our meeting was supposed to be done. We're now involved in a debate on this. And what I don't want to do is be rushed into a decision on this very serious allegation that's been made without having had the opportunity to review the materials as presented in the news, without having had the opportunity to hear any type of debate. I am uncomfortable voting on this motion. Now, I'll just state this for the record. I will abstain from voting on this motion if it moves forward in its current form as it is. So I just wanted to put that to the committee because I'm not present there today. I'm not in the room. I can't have conversations with people, and I prefer to negotiate in an open and transparent way, and that's where I stand on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Green. Ms. Khalid, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I really take the points that Mr. Green has made with respect to, one, the nature of how this motion is being introduced, table dropped, basically, at the end of a long day. We're trying to get through committee business, figure out what our schedule is going to be when we come back from the break. Knowing and understanding how heavy of a schedule we have, Mr. Vilmere's study is coming up on January 29th, and I think that we do need to give priority to things that we've already agreed to. And I know that, like in the past, we haven't exactly been doing that. So I would like to set that precedent now, Chair, and say we agreed that Mr. Vilmere's study is going to start on January 29th. Let's get to it. We have, in the past, for example, unfortunately, canceled meetings where we could have had, some of this work being done. Now we're having to push it into the new year. For example, Chair, we have two excellent vice chairs in Mr. Villemere and Ms. Fortier to make sure that, on the sad instance that you're unwell, that the committee work still continues. So I really think that at this point, given that other committees, many of them, are studying the exact same issue, it would perhaps be prudent for us, while all of that work is going on, that we start with the studies that we've already agreed to as a committee, that we voted on, that we have said is the priority of this committee. So I leave it to my colleagues to see how they want to do this, but I really think at this time we should not let our agenda be hijacked on things that we have already agreed to. Let's stay true to our word, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Khalid. Not seeing any other hands up or debate on the motion. Do we have agreement? No? Okay, we don't have agreement, so let's go to a vote then. Madam Clerk, go ahead.
On the motion moved by Mr. Barrett, Mr. Baines?
No.
Madame Lapointe?
No.
Mr. Kellaway?
No.
Madame Fortier? No. Ms. Khalid?
No.
Mr. Barrett?
Yes.
Monsieur Gourde? Oui. Ms. Vecchio? Oui. Monsieur Villemere?
No.
Mr. Green?
Abstain.
Mr. Chair, yeas 3, nays 6.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. The motion is defeated. I'm going to suspend for a couple of minutes while we go in camera. We're going to flip Mr. Green around here, and then we'll give some drafting instructions. I don't mean literally, Mr. Green, but we're going to suspend.